Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Kobe and MJ and Brady, just because of their mentality. I mean, Kobe's, famously not only for basketball, right, but his mentality, the Mamba mentality. As a quarterback, I think is very important, right, just to have that Mamba mentality of, coming in and not, caring about anything except winning. And, I think that's what the great ones do so well.
Looking at the team defensively, what are some of the challenges that you see that you're going to have to make sure you stay on your point?
Yeah, one, how disciplined they are. They're, literally, they, rarely mess up. It's quite impressive. Two, how well they play together. Everybody does their job very, very well, and that's why they're, very high on the defensive statistic of the ball. And then three, just, how hard they play. Their guys are flying around. Like, there's always, one or two or three or four guys at the ball, and it's really, really impressive what they do so well. So hats off to them.
Ty, are you more inclined to be back in Alabama in 2026 or move on to the road?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it much, to be honest with you, just because of the big game coming up. So.
Ty, what were you listening to your headphones coming in? And also, I want to ask about starting fast before growth said that's got to be how do you guys do that?
Yeah, so I was listening to Morgan Wallen coming in. It's kind of my go-to, listen to him all the time. And yeah, Coach Grubb says it all the time, right? Coach DeBoer emphasizes it, just starting fast, not waiting to the second quarter like we did last week. And it just starts with doing our job. Just everybody does their job, and we communicate well. We'll start fast, and we'll get things going.
Hi, how excited are you to be playing any role football?
Yeah, I'm just super excited, super blessed. God's, put me here and our team, and it's been a dream come true. Thought about this when I was a kid. All the memories, all the the granddaddy of them all, as they say, for this bowl game. So the opportunity to play is a dream come true.
Can you talk about the journey, just being able to get here as a team?
Yeah, it was hard. Not only for my journey, but as a team in general. Didn't start off the year as we wanted to. Everybody, like I've said, counted us out. And just the resiliency this team has showed. My teammates and everything that we've had from adversity. And not just that, but the good ones as well, right? The good wins. It's been fun, and I'm excited to keep it going.
The guys that stuck around for me, like yourself, is that game a motivation heading into this one? You guys think about that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think about it all the time. Just how we felt in the locker room, how it ended, and just thinking about all the scenarios of the game to where we should have won and should have put it away. So I think back to when we just got back and put in the Rose Bowl game, and we told the guys we had a team meeting. The guys who remembered it, of making sure that it didn't happen again, and just having that mindset of doing your job and enjoying the process.
You're into Legos. What are your favorite Legos that you've built, and how does that help you kind of unwind away from football?
Yeah, so my favorite ones, I had Stark Tower, which was, it took me about 3 days to do that over spring break, so that one, and then I have The Office. I put The Office in a glass case. Those are my two favorite. And I really enjoy it just because it gets me away from football, and it gives me stuff to do with a structure about it. And not only that, but I can put it up and use it as a decoration or something like that. So I love Legos, honestly. So it gets me away from football and just gets my mind off of things. Yeah, so I hadn't really watched him, like in depth. I'm sure like Kane and the defensive guys, but I've seen some highlights. One, how tough he is. I've seen some crazy hits that he's taken when he's in the pocket or moving. And two, I remember watching the Penn State game and just how poised he is. He's a big guy, so being able to take all those hits and then, getting hit again, and then throwing a game-winning touchdown is pretty impressive. So hats off to him and everything he's done this year.
What do you think of Indiana, this team in general, but their program and the rise they've had the last couple of years? Do you notice that?
As a coach's son, I understand how hard it is to rebuild a program. But the job that Coach Signetti has done, and the players have come together and played for each other and him has been remarkable. Everybody wants to talk about how they went from I guess a losing record to making the playoffs 2 years in a row. It is very, very impressive and remarkable, honestly. The turnaround they've had, just how disciplined they are, and I know Coach Signetti talks about Coach Saban a lot, so I'm sure the values and principles of the program is very similar to Alabama. So hats off to their coaches and AD and everything they've done, but also the players as well.
What's it like going up against a team like that with all the momentum, all the attention on them, just on this incredible run?
Yeah, it's what you want, honestly, right? Like, we talk about, having our backs to the wall and being an underdog, and it's crazy to think that, in 2025 that Alabama is thought about in this way. But we kind of embrace it as a team. I do, especially just because everybody, like I said, kind of wrote us off and didn't expect us to get here. So the point of proving people wrong is what we want. So we're all here for it, and just nothing to lose and cut it loose.
Ty, the win against Oklahoma, did that reaffirm the team's resiliency and toughness of this ball club?
Yeah, absolutely. I know the week before the SEC championship, we didn't put our best foot forward. And everybody knew that due to the circumstances, but that's not an excuse. So we had to prove people wrong again. And so all the noise of just us not being a good team, us not being tough, us shouldn't be in the playoffs, right? Like it made us feel some type of way. And then we come out with a win, and then it's the same thing this week, like being an underdog and playing against the number one team. Right, like you gotta love that. And that's why you play college football, why you come to the University of Alabama. Yeah, I said it earlier. I hadn't watched him in depth at all, but I've seen some highlights of him. Just how tough he is, how big he is, and how poised he is. And then of course, I know he's like a double major at not only at Cal but at Indiana, so I'm sure he's super smart. I've never met him, but a Heisman Trophy winner, like ton of respect to him and everything he's done. And I think I saw something to where his brother plays for Indiana as well, which is I think is really cool. I have a little brother as well who wants to play college football, so I wanted the opportunity to play with him. But seeing those guys, family being on the same team is, I think, really cool. So. One, how tough they are and how disciplined they are. They rarely mess up. Everybody knows what to do, and they do it very, very well. Two, how well they play together. Everybody has their spot, and everybody, knows where to go. And three, how hard they play. There's always multiple guys, running to the ball. And they rarely give up, where they're guys across the field or anything like that. Like there's always, multiple guys, trying to get the football, trying to get it out. And that's why they're, statistically the, one of the best defenses in the country. So, we got to be on our P's and Q's, got to do our job, and, go have fun. Yeah, I remember that game and just, having opportunities to honestly put it away. We just never did. And then we, had a chance in overtime to win it. We didn't. And just, remember feeling that type of way in the locker room of just, everybody upset and sad, knowing that we had a chance to go and win it. And then, the team that we, went against won the championship. So, it made us feel some type of way. And I'm very grateful for, my time sitting behind Jalen and learning from him and him, being a mentor for me and showing me all different types of stuff of how he prepares and what he does. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for sitting behind him and Bryce. So I thank them all the time. Yeah, that's kind of how it's been all season, honestly. Just with how we started off the season, of losing that first game and everybody questioning us and not knowing if we're a good team or not, and writing us off, like I said. So being able to prove everybody wrong and have a little adversity is what we want. And being back to the corner, most people, if you get back to the corner, just kind of sit down and don't fight. But these guys and this team are fighters, and we're going to do everything we can to fight and claw and get out. And that's what we've shown through our schedule and through the season. And here we are now, in the Rose Bowl, playing against the #1 team in the country. So very excited. Yeah, this team, we're fighters. I said that earlier, just how resilient we are, and we're never going to give up, no matter what the score is. Two, our offense is, very explosive, and we just got to do our job. We got to understand that, when everybody communicates, does their job, and doesn't try to, make things bigger than what they are, then, we'll go up and down the field. And that's what we've shown. We've shown spurts of it. It's not consistent as we want it to be. But how better late than never to get fired up. So very excited for the opportunity.
Okay, Ty, now that you've been with a lot of offensive coordinators in combination with your time at Alabama, and now that you have sort of the band back together, Ryan Grubb, Nick Sheridan, and Coach Moore, how have you noticed them work together, and what's different this year compared to maybe your first season?
Yeah, the band back together, that's funny. I like that. Credit to, Coach DeBoer, Coach Sheridan, Coach Grubb, and then Mitch Dolan, who is, at Oregon State now. Those guys have, taught me a lot about ball, offense and defense in general, just, expanding my ball knowledge. The cool thing about it is, they've all been, coordinators or called plays in some type of level, but how well they work together. No ego gets in the way. They're always, bouncing ideas off each other, and they're always, on the same page. And I know that's hard because, just how it was last year with Coach Sheridan calling plays and Coach Grubb coming in now, and then, Mitch calling plays at D2. And as a coach has said, I know how difficult that is to, just kind of, go behind the scenes and let Coach Grubb call it. But being able, to go in the meeting every day and knowing that, you have all those guys helping you is a quarterback's dream.
Yeah, and what does Coach Grubb do that's different than, what you've done in the past?
I think they have a lot of similarities, honestly, that people don't really, realize and understand. But I think what Coach Grubb does so well is, he tries to pair everything together. And that's what I've learned, the most about him is, hey, this is the intent of the play, this is why we're running it. And this is what, what we've shown after that in our tendencies. And, when I'm a coach one day, that's, how I'm going to be able to do it. So. Yeah, super excited for him and his family and Coach Sheridan. Ton of respect for him, and he's helped me get here. We go way back. I remember when I was getting recruited by Indiana and by Coach Sheridan, him being there. So, coming full circle, him being my coach. But not only am I super excited for, Coach Sheridan and his family, but Michigan State as well, because they're getting a huge, asset to their program and a great coach. So, being able to have three coaches who have helped me, go somewhere else to be coordinators, I take a little pride in that, knowing that our offense is that explosive and that cool to be able to have three guys go and call plays. So, just a ton of respect, and I can't thank them enough. Yeah. Yeah, I said it earlier, being a coach's son and knowing how hard it is to come in and then, I wouldn't say rebuild a program, but get the program to where it is now is super, super difficult. So the amount of respect I have for not only, Coach Signetti and his staff, but the AD and Indiana staff in general has been remarkable just to see, their evolution and being the #1 team in the nation. And just how well everybody works together. And, I know he references Coach Saban a lot, so, I have ties to him, of course. But, very, very impressed with what, that program is right now.
What is it about your defense that you feel the most so dominant?
Yeah, you know, how well they work together. You know, they rarely mess up, honestly. You know, it's hard to dissect them. And then, you know, the ability to just play together and how hard they play. You know, there's always guys running to the ball, you know, always trying to get the ball out. That's why statistically they're so so good. So, you know, we got to do our job, got to protect the ball and just communicate well and, you know, do what we do.
Ty, can you walk me through a little bit how you feel physically right now, maybe compared to the end of the regular season SEC title game? Obviously, long season, you get hit, bumps, and bruises. How much did the two kind of breaks here, how much have they helped you kind of get your body back?
Yeah, honestly, you know, it's been a lifesaver. You know, as everybody knows, the SEC schedule is no, you know, cupcake. So, you know, getting, you know, even a couple of days off has been, you know, so helpful for not only me but our team in general. Just getting guys back like Josh Cuevas, you know, Jam, some guys on defense like LT. So, you know, having the ability to just have a couple of days off and not only rest physically but mentally has been you know, huge. And you know, I know these guys feel the same way with getting a month off. You know, they got to buy, but you know, everybody's hurting this time of year. You know what I mean? So, you know, we gotta, you know, bumps and bruises, gotta patch them up, let's get going. You know, and blessed to be playing the Rose Bowl.
Fully healthy Alabama, we really haven't seen maybe since September, October with all those guys you just mentioned. Does it give you a little confidence that, you know, LT's back now, everybody's rolling back, Dewberry's back?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said it, you know, the fully healthy Alabama. Y'all saw what we did, you know, with our schedule after Georgia. So, you know, just being, you know, a little bit healthier then, you know, it's a scary feeling, you know, for other teams. So, you know, just to, like I said, to have the ability to have a couple of days off and just get our mind, you know, mentally ready and our body physically ready is huge.
How much better do you feel maybe than going into the SEC title game?
Oh, a ton. I feel very, very much better.
Anything specific that you just like improve?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just everything, body in general. You know, like I said, you know, just bumps and bruises. Everybody's feeling some type of way. You know, just to have the ability to rest and, you know, get everything right is all that matters.
Last question. The calendar of college football being funky has been a big topic the last couple weeks. Coaching changes, portal, draft. Like, again, I'm not asking you what you're going to do, but I'm just wondering if you could put in context the decisions you have to make as the calendar unfolds here. Obviously, the portal is going to open. You leave, Alabama's going to be a portal. Just walk me through all that, the complexities of these decisions.
Yeah, you know, it certainly is hard, for sure. Not only for me, but just people in general, you know, who want to, you know, go play and better themselves. And I know coaches, it sucks for them as well. You know, we had people go to Michigan State. You know, Coach Sheridan is fortunate enough to let him stay, but Mitch Dolan and Coach Shepard and some other guys who are at Oregon State. So, you know, it definitely is a problem. You know, me specifically, you know, I'm going to make the best decision for me, of course. But, you know, I'm not really focused on that. I'm focused on winning the Rose Bowl and being with my teammates and being present in the moment.
Hopefully this ends for you January 19th. But
yeah, absolutely.
A lot of things are going to come fast, right?
No doubt. And we've had some conversations for sure, just because of how fast it comes. But it definitely is difficult. And I know, you know, my former coach has a lot to say about it. And we've had some conversations about it. But, you know, the best thing about it is being present in the moment and, you know, focusing on the Rose Bowl in Indiana.
Thank you, Tom.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So, I heard you went to the movies recently. What's your favorite movie?
Zootopia 2.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got a second favorite?
SpongeBob.
Okay, I got a question.
Interesting.
Who is the biggest swashbuckler of them all?
I'm the biggest swashbuckler of them all.
Okay.
Always remember that.
Okay, brother. I just had to make sure.
Through the years at Alabama, there's been a lot of great players. I know when the team said he's picked up a lot of players. Who is giving you the hardest shot?
Number 10. Oh yeah, Henry. Yeah, Henry Toto. Yeah. But I was on the scout team then, so I kind of had to throw it to him.
Yeah.
I don't know another number 10 though. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Whether you're from Tennessee or not.
We're gonna stick together, man. How much inspiration for those guys do?
I love those guys so much. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Being able to stay and play with them is what I stayed for. So those guys are going to be my lifelong best friends. I get fired up when I get to hang out with them. My best part of the day is going to the building and knowing I get to see Parker Brailsford and my teammates.
describe how your emotions at the time when they want to step out on the floor for a field of January?
I mean, who wouldn't be excited? You know what I mean? Like, this is what I dreamed of. This is what I stayed for. I remember watching the Rose Bowl when I was a kid. So, you know, having the opportunity to tell my kids that I played in the Rose Bowl is a dream come true. And so, you know, I thank God every day that I get to, you know, do what I love with the people I love. And I'm just super, super excited.